So in the previous segment, I described how rather than implement new functionality in the monolith, and you should instead implement it as a standalone service. That will avoid making the monolith bigger. In this segment, I'm going to introduce another strategy that can reduce the size of your monolith. And it's a very simple approach. Normally in your monolith, you've got layers. So you typically have a presentation layer, and then you have a set of back-end components that implement the business logic and access the database. And quite often there's a nice clean separation between the two, between your web application layer that's consisting of, say, Spring MVC controllers, and then your transactional business logic layer. You almost invariably have a service API or a facade between them, at least hopefully. Hopefully you don't actually have business logic embedded inside your presentation layer. So if you do have this nice clean separation, or you first restructure your application so you do have this clean separation, you could then split the two components and put them into separate services. So you'd have one service that's a presentation layer, and then another service that's the back end. And because there's this nice service-oriented facade between them, you can easily introduce a remoting layer between the two. So you sort of in theory, you could have, split your monolith into two chunks, which would obviously be a lot smaller. And then another added benefit of doing this is that there's a nice remoting API that will further support additional refactoring efforts. So that's a simple strategy that will help you get on your way towards splitting up your monolithic application into microservices.